the sports car front, Alpine have confirmed its 2025 driver lineup for the FIA World Endurance Championship. While we won't know who's in what car until a later date, we do know that Charles Malasey, Paul-Louis Chatin, Firmin Hasberg and Mick Schumacher will return. Now, Jules Gowan is receiving a promotion to the full-time race seat, and they've signed Frederick Makowicki after losing his seat at Porsche Penske Motorsport. Now, interesting enough, the return of Schumacher was announced almost immediately after it was announced that he will not return to Mercedes F1 as the reserve driver. Now, according to Mercedes, Schumacher decided to leave this role for new opportunities next season. This comes after rumours continue to suggest that Valtteri Bottas is returning to Mercedes to take this role. In a statement, Schumacher said that watching the F1 races and not being out there on track has been tough, so he wants to give 100% of his time to racing behind the wheel. Now, remember, he missed out on opportunities to return to F1 at Alpine and Sauber's soon-to-be Audi F1 team as well. A graphic courtesy there of Alpine. So, are you surprised that Schumacher is sticking with Alpine in sports cars despite getting snubbed for the Alpine F1 seat? And does he seem to indicate that his F1 career is now officially over?
Well, I feel like if he didn't take this ride, he wouldn't have one for next year. That's kind of the way that this has happened. Out of the Mercedes role, as you mentioned, Josh. He's done okay. He's done in his first full season with Alpine this year in 2024. They've done okay. New project, new car. They've done okay throughout the season. It's been getting better and better throughout the year, as has Mick. More time in the car, and obviously did Le Mans and plenty of running in that championship. More experience, and he's done well. So I'm not surprised to see him stay. My most positive thing looking at that Alpine lineup for next year is Jules Gounon getting a full-time promotion. He came in as the reserve for a couple of races last year, replacing Ferdinand Habsburg when he was injured earlier in the season, and did a really good job. And we know how quick Jules is, the fast Andorran. So he's going to be really, really good in that team next year. And if they can make the car better, then Alpine could be in the mix with the Ferraris and Porsches and Toyotas of the world to win races next year, because after a year of experience, they've got a good solid driver lineup, a couple of experienced guys in there with Makowicki, especially coming across from Porsche. So really positive for the Alpine project for next year in sports cars. They're also going to be sponsoring Pete today. So we're going to see Alpine branding absolutely every sport, wherever you look next season. But for Mick, I think this is, I think he's, there was some talk when he was in F2, Josh, wasn't there, that maybe he's not the real deal. Then he had a good season when he won the championship in the COVID year, wasn't it? When he won the championship. It just never happened for him in F1. And I know he was in a poor Haas alongside a very poor teammate. His best opportunity to keep a full-time ride.
Yeah, for sure. And looking at Mick Schumacher, I think it's a really great thing to see him returning for another year in Alpine. Like you said, Matt, getting that experience was really key. And if they improve the car over the offseason, who knows, they could be in the mix to win races next season, and a good case to potentially contend for the championship. And looking at Mick Schumacher's open wheel career in general. Obviously being the son of one of the all-time F1 greats and Michael Schumacher, there was obviously going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of spotlight on Mick. And, that's what any sport, whether it's, let's say, Bronny James or LeBron James in basketball or football, father and son as well. You have Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, a lot of pressure on them. And then in racing, you have Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I could just go on and on about racing, with the great fathers and then sons try to follow in their footsteps. And I really hate the situation for Mick. Like you were saying, Matt, he was in a slow Haas. I felt that was a very bad situation for him to be in a really bad car. And then also two rookies. It was him and Nikita Mazepin, his teammate. Having two rookies in a really bad car is a recipe for absolute disaster. And I think Haas definitely learn from that situation. I don't think that's a route that they'll go down anytime soon, and that's definitely a blueprint for any team not to follow as well. Having two inexperienced drivers on a car like that, and I think Mick did not recover from that situation. Going up the road to F1, it always seemed like at first he struggled, and then he was able to get better and show what he could do. And we saw Mick obviously struggle in F1, but unfortunately we haven't really seen him get the opportunity to, you know, show what he can do. And I wanted to see him try to do that at this level after early struggles. If he got in the right car, right situation, could Mick Schumacher show what we saw at the end of his tenure in all these other racing series on the road up to F1, where you have a rough go at first, and then once you get the hang of it, you're lightning fast and you're one of the best of the best. But sadly, based on what he was saying, it looks like, you know, that this is the end of the road for him in Formula One. And if that's the case, that would be unfortunate. We thought for many months he was going to get the Audi F1 seat, but that's not going to happen. Alpine passed him over, which was a heartbreaker for him. And if this is the end of his F1 career, it really sucks for him, but that's okay, because he's going to have opportunities to do great things in other forms of racing, whether he has a long, successful endurance career, you know, winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans, whether he decides to come over, run the Rolex 24 at Daytona, 12 Hours of Sea, run 6 Hours of Glen, battle on the Brits, the Petit Le Mans, the IMSA Michelin Endurance Cup races, whether he decides to go down the Formula E route or IndyCar route in the future. I remember at one point he was rumored to be one of the contenders for the second Prima seat in the NTT IndyCar series. I think Mick is definitely going to have opportunity. I think he's still a solid race car driver, so he'll be able to do some great things in his racing career, even if it isn't Formula One.